mamas, grab a big cup of tea and maybe a box of Kleenex, because this episode of Hustle Like a Mom is going to be super special and maybe a little bit more emotional than the others, but I want you to be prepared, so stay tuned for what's coming with this lovely lady right here next to me. Mamas, I'm so excited today to be joined by Emmy award-winning Marisa Brahney. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for chatting with us about your journey as I have to say this again, Emmy award-winning. It's not
You're making me blush.
Are you blushing? No, it's just the lights here in the studio. You are from News 12 New Jersey. You do the anchoring here Monday through Friday. So let's just talk about, how does a young Marisa who graduates from college get here
into the biz?
Yeah.
It's been a journey for sure. I started fresh out of school when I was barely 22. I sent out a bunch of tapes, the summer after I graduated college. I always knew I wanted to do this, and studied communications and journalism in school, had some great internships, made a resume tape, sent out the resume tape, took the first on-air job I got.
Which was in?
Tiny Binghamton, New York, upstate New York, very snowy, very cold. One-man banding, doing it all, shooting, editing, writing, filling and anchoring, crazy hours, and actually it was a part-time job, so I worked at Starbucks the rest of the week to pay my rent.
That's a hustle right there, right?
Yeah, but it was just, I wanted it so badly. I wanted to experience being a journalist and putting people's stories together and telling people's stories. I think it's such a responsibility and such a privilege to be able to share someone's story with the world and the viewers. And so I still view it as that, and I love it. And from Binghamton, I went on to work in several other markets. I moved to Florida for a few years, where I met my husband. We moved back to the Northeast and got jobs at the NBC affiliate in Philadelphia. So I was there for a couple of years before coming back to New Jersey, which is my home state.
Yes.
And I've been at News 12 for 5 years now.
So you've been here for 5 years, and you did mention casually though, but your husband's also in the biz. You're both a media entertainment family empire, and adding to that empire was the birth of your children.
Yes.
How has motherhood changed your desire as far as professionally, where you want to go? Has it evolved your thought process of what's next? What's the next climb?
Yeah, I think as moms, we're constantly evolving. Every stage, my kids are young, but every stage is a little bit different, and it changes you a little bit more. And so in terms of career, I think as we were getting ready to start a family, the stars aligned, and I was able to have the opportunity to come back home, to be close to my parents again, to be close to my in-laws, knowing that the next, hopefully, chapter of our journey was to have kids. That was really important. So it just sort of serendipitously worked out that this position was open. In the role here at News 12, I've been able to do a lot of things that have sort of been mom-oriented, which has been really awesome. I have a segment called Mom's Minute, which Pamela is on.
We're going to be doing that in a few hours live.
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity to sort of blend all of my worlds together in a way, which I sort of never anticipated happening or planned for. It just, as I became a mom, sort of evolved.
I love that you said, that idea, because this is, all industries are competitive, but in TV, it's like one spot is open, and it's like, it's in Orlando, and I'm going, or it's in,
yeah, and that's how my career was, for more than a decade, really. But I did always know, there are some people who want to go far away. I did that, but I did know that I wanted to be back closer to family, with the idea that I have never wanted anything more than to be a mom. That was always my first and foremost, even though my career has always been important to me. Being a mother has always been sort of my ultimate goal and dream above anything else. So, I always knew that would come first when the time came.
I love that you put that out there, because I still feel like so many of us, modern entrepreneurs and career women, it's hard to say that because then you're sort of judged as like not enough time allocated to the professional life. So it's nice. I think it's nice for all of us to hear that from somebody who's an Emmy Award-winning anchor. All right, mamas, we are back with part 2 as I swing around of our very important conversation with Marisa Brahney here live at the News 12 New Jersey studios. That's why the set changed, because we just did our Mommy Minute piece. Speaking of mommies, I want to talk about all of your children, and let's start with Charlotte. You're first.
Thank you for saying her name and bringing her up, and it's important to me to really make people aware that I do have 3 kids. I have 2 precious boys in my arms, I always say, and my daughter in heaven and in my heart. My journey to motherhood and through the start of motherhood has been difficult and very challenging. I was pregnant in 2014 with my first daughter, our first baby, and it was a perfectly normal pregnancy, sort of textbook healthy. I didn't have any issues getting pregnant or throughout the pregnancy. Even my labor was all normal. There were no signs of any problem or distress. But unfortunately, when Charlotte was born, she had aspirated meconium in the womb, which had gone undetected. And that's actually a very common thing for babies to experience. Most of the time it is treatable. Doctors worked frantically on her for about an hour and a half, but the meconium was just too deep into her lungs. They couldn't get her to breathe. And we lost her just as quickly as we had her. It was, traumatic and shocking. Certainly unexpected. I went to the hospital thinking I was going to be coming home with our first child, and we had to leave the hospital with empty arms. And so our loss and her life and her death has profoundly changed me as a person. It has shaped every part of my life now moving forward, but especially motherhood. I'm blessed and lucky to have 2 healthy, beautiful boys at home. Kennedy is 2.5 and Ashton is 10 months, and they are the lights of my life. They're fun every day. They're hysterical. They make me laugh. They make me love. They're just a joy. And so parenting them is a privilege and a blessing that I do not take for granted for 1 second.
So I know that you honor your daughter in so many amazing ways and really give of yourself for others that are in the situation. Tell me about the Tears Foundation.
So, I think the biggest thing is that when you're confronted with something like this, I certainly was very naive to how common pregnancy and infant loss is. 1 in 4 women actually experiences pregnancy or infant loss,
Wow.
which is just a huge staggering number. But when you go through it and it's so unexpected, you really don't know where to turn. And the Tears Foundation is actually based in my hometown in New Jersey, the New Jersey chapter, and they reached out to me within days, knowing what had happened through watching, me on the news and everything, and it was just so invaluable to have someone immediately who understood what I was going through. It's all volunteer-based. Everyone who works for the organization and with the organization, the board leaders, they've all been through it. And so to have someone to speak to immediately who understood what I was going through was just so helpful in, just navigating all of the emotions and the trauma of it and, the devastation. They also raise money for funeral costs, burial costs, cremation, all of that, because, it's so unexpected when you're faced with something so devastating. There are so many unexpected things, but the financial side is something that a lot of families are just totally unprepared for. You're preparing to start your life with your baby, and the cost of all of that can be extremely overwhelming. So in addition to the financial, they have that emotional support there, just someone to talk to. And I think the biggest thing is just realizing you're not alone. It can feel like you're out there on an island, and just by sharing my story, by spreading awareness of organizations like that, I just hope to get the word out there for other women that, you're not the only one who's been through this.
I think that's great, and I read somewhere you call it when you lose a child, you call it the club you never wanted to here and in other outlets in New Jersey and really across the country when people read different magazines and hear your story, that's some level of, I don't want to say comfort because I can't begin to understand what that's like, but just that idea that you're not alone.
Right.
There's a resource. And I know you and I have also talked about this idea that, you're a first-time mom and all of a sudden, the doctors don't necessarily always tell you everything, right? Because you said they don't want to scare you, right?
Right. I think that exists in society too. We don't want to scare first-time mothers, and so it doesn't get talked about as much as it should. And I have to say, since this happened to me, even 4 years ago, we lost Charlotte. We're coming up on her 4th birthday. Even since we lost her, I have seen a little bit of a shift in the conversation, I think, which is really important because I think that it can be so isolating when you go through something like that, to feel like it's just all joy and rainbows and happiness surrounding birth and pregnancy. And I think the conversation about not only pregnancy and infant loss, but also infertility issues,
Sure.
the struggles that women go through in a variety of ways to get to be a mother. I think we're starting to see a turn a little bit, but I still think there needs to be more. I think, and that's why I try not to shy away from talking about it. It's hard, and it brings up a lot for me. But if I can just reach one person who maybe is just initially going through it, who might see it and be like, oh my gosh, there is support out there. There are resources and organizations and other moms who are willing to talk and lend an ear and lend a shoulder to cry on and lend a hug, and who are willing to say your baby's name and remember them with you, then it's worth it for me. I think that it helped me when I was at that point, and so I hope to do that to honor my daughter too.
All right, mamas, this is a real Hustle Like a Mom interview because we have been shooting this during Marisa's live tapes, but I cannot let you go. You are a Jersey girl through and through, back in your hometown now after traveling the country and doing the news anchor thing all across the country. What is your favorite Jersey song?
Oh, so definitely have to go with Bruce for that. I'm a huge Bruce fan. Anyone who knows me knows that. So many songs reference Jersey, but I think I have to go with Born to Run. Highway 9 reference. Anyone in Jersey knows Route 9, so I'll go with Born to Run.
And I think that might be your song because she's literally been running back and forth all across the studio, then trying to do our segment, sharing what you shared, which is so important. What is your, of course, what is your favorite place to eat in Jersey? Because you're a foodie. You have, wait, tell everybody quickly, what's the show, the other show that you do?
So another segment I do on News 12 is Jersey Food and Fun. It's like dream job central because I'm a foodie, I love to eat, I love to cook. It's so hard to narrow down to just one place. Some favorites for pizza: Raza in Jersey City is fantastic, Grimaldi's in Hoboken, Federici's in Freehold, that's a Bruce place by the way, and in Belmar there's one. So I'll leave people with that for a little sampling.
You have to follow her on Instagram because
Thank
you do talk about all your foodies, and you cook yourself.
Yes,
so are you
love to
big
cook.
on the family dinners?
We eat dinner together every night, yes.
I like that.
Race home, we make it happen, it's our time, with the crazy schedules and everything. That's what we try to do. No phones, just
I like that.
family time.
I like that. And before we let you go, what is your mom non-negotiable? What do you think is your one thing that's just you
I would
gotta
say the
stick to
family dinners right now. Right now. I mean, my kids are little, so it's
Right
easy
now,
to
until
say.
they get older, they're like, I don't want them there.
Baseball, no. I mean, the practices, the activities.
Yeah.
I look at some of my friends with older children, my family members, my sisters-in-law who have 3 kids in all different activities. So I know that we're always evolving as moms, right? But right now, that is my everyday. I must have my boys, my husband. We sit down, we talk about our day. I hope it never goes away, but we have to be flexible as we get older and go through different stages. So
I agree that the family dinner that time is like super duper important. As I run to try and do that, which is going to be a 2-hour drive from here, and I know you're going to run to do that at your house as well. Mamas, thank you so much for joining. Marisa, thank you much for sharing your story. I know your journey is really helping a lot of moms out there. Tell everybody where they can follow you on Instagram.
I'm at mbrahney on Instagram, Brahney,
right here.
Marisa Brahney on Facebook. So hope to see you there.
Thank you so much, mamas. Have a great rest of your day.